where the news comes first. This is KCRA 3 News at 6.
A state bill that would protect more children from trafficking. What's happening now that could put that legislation at risk?
Plus, one dead, another injured, still no suspect. We are hearing from neighbors now in one South Sacramento neighborhood still reeling from the overnight shooting.
And a man accused of devastating stabbing attacks in Davis facing a judge once again. The details from that courtroom today and what's next in the case.
First up for you tonight, Democrats divided over a bill that targets the consumers of the child sex trafficking industry. Leaders of the state assembly confirming that they will not move forward with an effort to make it a felony to purchase 16 and 17-year-olds for sex. Thanks for being with us at 6. I'm Gulston Dark.
And I'm Edie Lambert. This is an issue we have been following for years now. KCRA3's Capitol correspondent Ashley Zavala joins us now to explain these new developments.
Edie, this is an effort that was first introduced by a Republican last year to crack down on the consumers of the child sex trafficking industry. Before last year, it was a misdemeanor in California to purchase a child for sex. With the passage of last year's law, it's now a felony to purchase anyone 15 years old and younger. But now, after a fight over all of this last year, Democratic Sacramento Assemblymember Maggie Krell is trying to include 16 and 17-year-olds in that solid felony charge. Even though lawmakers want this changed, we're hearing the reason why it's not is because some Democrats are trying to honor a closed-door deal on this whole issue that was made last year.
I was told that it was pulled, and the only way I could get it back on the agenda is if parts of the bill would be blocked.
Former California Department of Justice prosecutor and now Democratic Assembly member Maggie Krell disappointed by what's happened to her bill. The Assembly Public Safety Committee will not move forward with her proposal that would make it a felony to purchase a 16 or 17-year-old for sex.
Did you expect this? Are you surprised by this, just being a new member in this building?
I think it's a disgrace.
It's evil.
Republican State Senator Shannon Grove, who originally pitched the concept last year, says the Assembly is now trying to honor a closed-door deal between her and the state Senate from last year. That deal allowed what's now state law to move forward. Last year, lawmakers made it a felony to purchase a child 15 years old and younger for sex, while allowing the purchase of 16 and 17-year-olds to be either a misdemeanor or felony. Grove says it was more of an ultimatum.
It was either move forward with 15 and below or get nothing. And so the issue of protecting the 16 and 17-year-olds that we put forward in the bill, because everyone knows, if you asked anybody in California, they should be included in those protections against sex trafficking minors. They are minors. They're considered minors under any other circumstance. For it to come from the Senate just because they said so is completely evil. Just evil.
My perspective as chair is that there was a carefully negotiated deal last year.
New Assembly Public Safety Committee Chairman Nick Schultz is the one who ultimately made this latest decision.
The negotiation or the deal that I guess was struck between senators and Senator Grove last year to move her bill with the 15 years old and under forward, I mean, do you think like the regular average California voter, taxpayer, or even victim of this crime, like that would mean anything to them?
Here's what I think. I think the average taxpayer expects to be kept safe in the state of California. They also expect a justice system that is fair and equitable. That's what we try to do with the Public Safety Committee. I think whether you're talking about Senate Bill 1414 last year or Assembly Bill 379 this year, the reality is most people are not watching the day-to-day developments of these bills.
I've been doing this for 20 years, and I'm not going to quit now. And I am going to bring this part of this bill back every year until I get the votes to protect children. That's what I'm going to do.
So Assemblyman Nick Schultz said later this fall he wants to hold informational hearings to go deeper on the 16 and 17-year-olds issue and come back in January with a new proposal. We should note there have been several hearings and discussions on this issue from last year, again when the idea was originally pitched, and Assemblymember Krell has said over and over again that the point of this is to make it so that the laws are consistent for traffickers and buyers, because those harsher penalties apply to traffickers who traffic children 18 and under. under,
Right.
and therefore the law, she sasays, should apply to buyers too for that reason.
And so many other laws that apply
Right.
to minors just in general. So there are other parts of Assemblymember Krell's bill that are going to move forward. What should we be looking for there?
Right, yeah, the hearing tomorrow will still allow parts of AB 379 to continue. Those parts include reinstating penalties for those who loiter for prostitution with the intent to purchase anyone. Those convicted would have to pay up to a $1,000 fine, and that money would then go into a fund for survivors. But again, those hearings later this fall will dissect that other issue. But ultimately what we're seeing here is politics at play, the deal that I guess made this whole thing collapse.
All right. Well, we know you'll keep following it. We'll keep watching it with you. Thanks, Ash.
Thanks.
All right. Well, right now on our website, if you go there, you can find our documentary with an in-depth look at why Sacramento is a hotspot for sex trafficking and what's being done to try to save victims. Scan the QR code for the shocking stories from survivors right from our area and a look at how long traffickers are actually spending behind bars once they're busted.
Tomorrow, California lawmakers will vote on a bill that would change the rules for transgender women serving in the state's women's prisons. In 2021, California's Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation allowed trans and non-binary people to request to be housed in a place that is consistent with their gender identity. State Senator Shannon Grove said that's been done without guardrails, noting there have now been 2 confirmed rape cases in women's prisons because of the law. Grove's proposal would no longer allow trans and non-binary people to be transferred to women's prisons if they have been convicted of sexually violent crimes. This proposal would also require trans and non-binary people in women's prisons to use separate intimate facilities, including bathrooms and beds. We spoke to a supporter today.
For the last 4 years, we have been completely overwhelmed with phone calls, emails, paper mail, every kind of message that you can send from inside of the 2 women's prisons in our state are coming directly to us. I have file cabinets full of messages from women that are crying for help that have gone unanswered. We have so much mail that I still have letters from 2021 that I haven't responded to yet.
The bill will be heard in the Senate Public Safety Committee tomorrow morning. The Legislative LGBTQ Caucus opposes the bill, and in this statement they say in part, quote, segregating transgender women or forcing them to be housed in men's prisons creates a more dangerous culture, as perpetrators of anti-transgender violence rarely, if ever, face any consequences.
Well, tonight, Sacramento police are searching for those responsible for a deadly shooting in the Meadowview area. Neighbors telling KCRA 3 that they assumed it was fireworks, only to find out later that 2 men were actually shot. KCRA 3's Cecil Hannibal reports from the neighborhood now at the center of this homicide investigation.
Frank Asada enjoys the peace and quiet here at the end of Sweetbriar Way.
So this neighborhood's safe. I mean, nothing ever goes on around over here.
That was until Sunday night.
12:30 in the morning, because I was leaving for work.
While heading in for his graveyard shift, Frank saw flashing lights and police everywhere.
You know, you don't just see that. It's not just a medical emergency. I knew something went down. Someone got shot. Someone's dead for them to block off the road.
Sacramento police say just after 11 p.m., 2 men were shot here in this Meadowview neighborhood. One took himself to the emergency room. He's critical but stable. Police say the other did not survive.
That person was transported to an area hospital, and sadly, despite life-saving measures, he succumbed to his injuries at the hospital.
Investigators working through the overnight hours, canvassing the area, interviewing witnesses on scene for more than 12 hours.
Maybe about two seconds, like pop, pop, pop.
Neighbors like Andy Salas recalls what he thought were simply fireworks until he learned those pops were bullets fired just down the street from his home.
Crazy because, I mean, I have 3 kids and, you know, I have to protect them and everything like that. So it's crazy.
The Sacramento police are searching for suspects but not releasing any details when asked about a possible motive.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's targeted. The circumstances leading up to it and, you know, why these people were shot, that's going to be pivotal in our investigation and a focus point.
But police say there's no current threat to the public as this marks Sacramento's 12th homicide this year, as police try to find the person or people who pulled the trigger, taking one man's life and putting another in the hospital. In Sacramento, Cecil Hannibal, KCRA 3 News.
Well, the man who died has not been identified yet, and right now police are asking anyone with any information to contact Sacramento Valley Crime Stoppers. You can stay anonymous, and you may be eligible for a reward of up to $1,000.
The FBI arrested a man who they believe is a Tahoe fentanyl distributor, and they are holding him responsible for the deaths of 4 people. Agents took 31-year-old Timothy Austin Pinnell into custody. Back on February 12th of last year, the bodies of 4 people were found inside a home on Roger Avenue. The FBI says Pinnell sold the victims fentanyl, and the agents say the victims were told they were buying cocaine. 3 men and a woman died from fentanyl poisoning, and 1 person survived.
To Stockton now, where a man accused of kidnapping and sexually assaulting a 13-year-old girl faced a judge for the first time. In court, the judge setting no bail for 41-year-old Dennis Lee. They appointed a public defender to represent him. We learned today that Lee was out on bail for a homicide case out of Alameda County during his arrest last week. Prosecutors said today that he used an airsoft gun to force that girl into his car. He's also accused of forcing her to ingest marijuana.
Well, shocking. Broad daylight. These are rare. Stranger danger is what we always warn our children about, and more often than not, a victim of child sexual molest will be molested by somebody familiar to that child. So this is what all parents dread. It's every parent's nightmare, and we will prosecute Mr. Lee to the fullest extent of the law.
As for Lee, he has not entered a plea at this point. He's expected to be back in court May 15th.
Today marked the beginning of the trial for the man accused of a deadly stabbing spree in Davis back in 2023. KCRA3's Maricela de la Cruz was in the courtroom for the start of the case against Carlos Dominguez, and she explains what's next.
It was a short day in court today as the judge and attorneys prepare for jury selection later this week. So today, both the defense and prosecution went over questions that they're going to be able to ask once the trial begins. It's been 2 years since that stabbing spree in Davis, and today was only the beginning for Carlos Dominguez, the man charged with murdering David Breaux and Kareem Abu Nam. Previously, Dominguez entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity, and during a 2024 preliminary hearing, prosecutors said they were not seeking the death penalty. This trial is scheduled to last about 10 weeks. This afternoon, there was another meeting for questionnaires, which will be distributed on Wednesday to potential jurors. The case resumes on Wednesday morning, and that could potentially be a long day for jury selection. In Woodland, Maricela de la Cruz, KCRA3 News.